All right, welcome back, viewers and listeners. It's To The Point, and this morning I am joined by my good friend, Senator Neilon Franklyn. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Good morning, Innocent, and good morning to your listening and viewing audience. I am well.
I like your T-shirt. I like your T-shirt.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So how have you been? It's been a while we haven't met. How is politics?
It's a bit nostalgic, to say the least, to be back here for the first time in a long time. While I was employed at the GBN, we used to have some frequent chats.
Of course.
In studio.
And you remember I told you were a politician? You remember me telling you that?
Yes, you said that to me frequently.
Yeah, I told you that. Good. Yeah. So, one of the things I like about this is that you're youthful, very youthful. You're still a youngster, and you have that portfolio of senator. And in recent times, we have been hearing and seeing quite a lot of youth involved in deviant behaviors. From your party's perspective, from NNP's perspective, what is the NNP's take on that? How would you have dealt with that?
I think it is a well-known fact that a significant proportion of our population is very youthful. And anything that affects them affects the entire population.
Okay.
Affects the entire population. The uptick in violent activities amongst that particular group of people in our society is very concerning, not just to myself, but to the new national party. And it is concerning to the general Canadian society. Last week, we have voiced our concerns about the uptick in violent activity amongst the young people. And last week, Friday, we did endeavor to have a conference on criminal activity, or crime, rather, in Canada.
Okay, Senator, please just pause for a minute. Don't stop. I'll unpause you. Could you stop rocking, because it shows up on the TV. I know you're in your luxurious chair and you're in your office, and but it's affecting us here on the TV. So peace, be still.
All right.
Good.
Yes, so we did have a symposium or conference last week on crime to deal with the concerns of criminal activity. We had a number of different sectors within our society represented. We had the business community, we had the churches, we had former police officers, former teachers, principals, among a number of other groups. And the discussion was surrounded mainly coming up with recommendations or dealing with recommendations as relates to the best way going forward on the crime situation in Grenada. A number of recommendations were made, and of course the party will endeavor to publish that as soon as it is ready. But generally, what were in beneficial and meaningful activities, then they will stay away from criminal activity. Engagements, including also mentorship and dealing with conflict management and conflict resolution, is also an important area that needs to be addressed, because normally you would find young people resorting to alternative mechanisms in dealing with frustration. They may be in a particular situation that they themselves don't know how to resolve, and peer pressure may influence them or allow them to resort to violent activities. In a number of the recent carnival activities that we've had, well, not necessarily branded by Spice Mass, but other carnival activities, we've heard of violent activities or violent incidences where young people were either chopped, stabbed, or wounded in whatever form. And that in and of itself is a direct result of a lack of their ability to deal with or manage conflict in a meaningful way.
Okay, now it's interesting that you raise those points. There's a question a statement I want to make, but before I make the statement, I want you to qualify something for me. Based on that consultation that your party just had with different stakeholders, what was the general consensus as it relates to the influx or the spike in criminal activities, especially around the young people? What was the common denominator there as it relates to a causative agent?
Summer classes, extracurricular activities, extra sporting activities, from not only the secondary level, but at the primary level, to keep a lot of us engaged. The churches were more involved at this particular time. I know I was involved in a number of young people within this constituency. Specifically, we were involved in Vacation Bible School. I know the times has changed. The outlook on the church's influence over young people may be changing, but I think it is still relevant at this particular time. So engagement, specifically with the young people, is important, and that is where that void is created. With the lack of engagement, they resort to other activity.
Right. Now, the statement I want to make, I had a conversation with Assistant Commissioner of Police John Mitchell a little earlier this morning, and whereas we are of the opinion that one crime is one too many, one murder is one too many, but he stated that from a regional perspective, Grenada is not doing too bad as it relates to crime and violent and deviant behaviors, and most importantly, for the carnival season in which we are currently in, he said that there's a reduction in criminal activities. Does your party see it that way?
For example, with the symposium that we had last week, the conference that we had last week, a number of stakeholders were engaged or invited to the activity and did not attend. I think that particular piece of statistic would have been important to highlight during the conference so that recommendations could be made around that. What we have seen is that publicly, there is a general concern amongst the public with the criminal activity or the violent activity that is happening, and particularly amongst the young people. While we may compare Grenada to the rest of the region, I think that we are more so accustomed to Grenada being known for its peaceful nature and its low crime rate. And at this particular time, generally, we believe that it is still a cause for concern, and there needs to be proper policy put in place, especially in dealing with the criminal activity amongst the young people.
Okay, now that's rather interesting. So, which leads me to another follow-up question. Now, what would your party, your organization, what would you all have done differently as it relates to tackling the crime situation presently?
Well, we did start the consultation with the conference last week. A number of the opposition parliamentarians have raised the concern in Parliament recently. So that was a start. The recommendations that came from the conference, of course, will be published, and we will endeavor to work along with the government if needs be. I think it was last week also the Prime Minister asked that there be a whole of country approach in terms of dealing with the crime issue. And that is something that it is an issue that affects all Grenadians. All of us are prone to any sort of violent activity. So we all have to come together to deal with it.
Okay, that sounds rather interesting because, as I always say, election is an event, an activity. And after that cycle is done, I think it is imperative of us as individuals to, move Grenada forward collaboratively. And when that time comes again, when an election cycle comes over, then we start back, with our parties and stuff. So it would be very interesting and beneficial for Grenada as a whole for the government and opposition to work cohesively for the benefit of Grenada. Now, another question with your youthfulness. All right, I am so happy to engage with you this morning because being able to teach people around your age group in the past, going forward, it's already a little gone past a year of the current administration's term. So we're looking at another 2-3 years before that cycle starts again. What plans are in place? Because I hear a lot of the sentiments that you shared with us. Ever so often I would hear MP Kate Lewis talk about, engagement of the youth and so forth. And everybody, even the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, he talks a lot about engaging the youth in this dispensation. So I know plans are already on the way for when that election cycle comes around. What sort of measures are you all thinking as it relates to engaging the young people when and if the NNP gets back into office?
Well, of course, I think the New National Party is known for its innovative thinking in terms of development in youth and youth development policies generally. That, of course, will remain one of our focus. In the past, we have implemented programs such as the Project Fly, the New Imani program, the Empower program, Project Reach, and all of these youth developmental programs. What we have seen, especially in the last year, a number of these programs have been scaled down, especially in terms of the budgetary allocation and the actual engagement in the young people participating in those programs. So, of course, youth development cannot stop, should not stop, and should not be diminished. That will continue and remain a focus of the New National Party if and when we win the next election, the next general election.
Okay. All right. We're due for a commercial break. We'll take that break, and when we come back, we open up the lines a bit so that we can be more engaging. I'm certain that you'd love to hear from the populace. So we take that commercial break, and we'll be right back. Is that okay with you, Senator? All right. We take that break.
Chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more with Multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me?
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Brilliantly. Celebrate some more.
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Grenada's broadcast of Republic Bank CPL 2023 is made possible by Republic Bank. We're the one for you. The National Lotteries Authority, Grenlec, and Hard On Plus.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
Spice Up returns to the Esplanade Mall yard. Spice Up the Esplanade. Every Wednesday and Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Spice Up the Esplanade. Your all-in-one Spice Mass event. Get a taste of everything carnival. From music to math to food to fashion. All things carnival in one place. Esplanade Mall, July 7th to August 11th. Don't you miss it.
Whoa, whoa. Rock the box, we say, yeah. GBN, we say, arts and culture, yeah. Rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. We'll be jamming here on a Thursday. It's a
Good morning and welcome back to the program To The Point this morning. I'm speaking with Senator the Honorable Neilon Franklyn with all his youthful self. And this is the opportunity where you can converse with the Senator. You have questions that you'd like to ask. Let me implore you though. All right, you can ask firm questions, but please stay well within the parameters of respect and order. Okay, please. Let's go to the telephone line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Innocent, and to Mr. Neilon Franklyn, who I've known from a child. I would like to ask him, though. He mentioned in his speaking that the activities that used to be taking place to engage the youth, and he mentioned Vocation Bible School. I would like to ask him if that had any influence on his life as a young man growing up, and if he would recommend this to his youthful people, if he would take that suggestion to his parliament, to his leader, that this is what they need to encourage Bible study for the youth, keep them engaged, keep them to know God, because they are human beings made in the image and likeness of God, and that is why they are not what they ought to be, because there is no God in them. So would he, because he grown up in it, would he try to facilitate that as much as possible, or influence that area as much as possible to get the young people knowing God? So instead of having the devil use them, God can use them instead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Now, I am certain that Senator Franklyn is hearing. We seem to be having some connectivity issues. Senator, you with me, right?
I don't know what happened, but I dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
I heard a wrap up, and I did hear mention to Vacation Bible School.
Okay, so let me give you a nutshell of what she requested of you. She said she knew you from a youngster growing up, and she liked the fact that you intimated that you grew up in church and so forth. But now, are you prepared to spread that message to the youth and to the leadership of the party that, going to church and knowing the Bible and knowing God is the right way to go? Are you prepared to do that?
Well, I mean, if I was not prepared, I probably would not have mentioned that I actually was a part of the Vacation Bible School. In the past, I attended it as a child, and when I became a little bit older, I actually volunteered. some years in assisting. And so I think it is important. We pride ourselves in being a Christian nation, and I think it is important to at least maintain some of those beliefs and some of those fundamental principles as we attempt to progress as a nation, and as the new National Party prides itself in its conservative policies, especially from its constitution. I don't think there's much else to say.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We have another caller on the line. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Joseph, and good morning to your guests.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I applaud my government for extending a hand to the leader of the opposition to engage in the, let us say, the rehabilitation of the youths or helping them with the violence. But I am saying we don't need anybody to come and dictate to us. If you can follow the lines, just stay where you are. But remember, as he said, two male crab cannot live in the same hole. So let us see what would happen going forward. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. All right. Senator, you care to respond to that? Okay, we're definitely having some connectivity issues there. But nonetheless, the number that you can call, maybe what I can do while we get... Yes, Senator, you back with us?
Yes, I did not hear the last part of what was being said, but I did hear mention me to the government extending an invitation to work with the opposition. I think both sides have indicated their willingness to work together to deal with the situation, specifically on crime, and it is important that we see both major political parties, or the leadership thereof of both major political parties, extending that olive branch to work together in the interest of the state. Not much countries you find that happening, and it is important for us as a country, especially due to the fact that we are a democratic society.
Okay. We do have another caller. Let's go to the telephone line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning. I would like to ask the senator, who was running this country for the longest while? And if who were there were running this country in the proper way, we will not be having this problem today. So I would like to know what the senator would have to say about that. Good morning.
Okay, thank you, caller. I don't know how you would respond to this one, because in my opinion, I'm not going to take ahead and answer your question for you, but in my opinion, crime is a common factor wherever we go. So go right ahead, respond.
I'm just trying to piece together, because again, there was some disturbance in terms of the audio. Crime is never something to be proud of. I don't think Grenada wants to be known or associate itself with increased crime or increased crime rate or crime in general. And whatever we need to do now, especially in the interest of the country, in the interest of our citizens, then we have to do it. Working together is the first step, and is the most important step, in my view. All sectors of our society, all facets of our society, each and every one of us have to work together to deal with it.
Okay. All right. A comment here from Ernesto Jose. Do you think because of the failure of the youth during the last administration for more than 23 years, let me get back to it. All right, more than 23 years, we're seeing the effects of the youth violence in Grenada today. When the youth program was abandoned from the revolution by the NNP administration. That's one comment. All right, Akim Lewis, I've been saying that for years. Like, if the problem we are seeing now, it must come from somewhere. All right, let's take this. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Now, Senator, in the interim, while we go in between with traffic between the calls and the comments from our social media platforms. You can interject and highlight anything that you'd like to raise, all right, because the program is all about you and the listeners. Okay, from that consultation that you had, what were some of the other strategic points that came out of it?
Apart from the increased engagement, we had recommendations for the socioeconomic situation to be dealt with from a fiscal policy perspective, and recommendations were made in that respect for government to address. The consultation, the conference in and of itself had each group dealing with different areas. So we had, for example, the group that I was a part of deal with the family and the church. How can the family and the church assist in dealing with the crime situation in Grenada? Some of the recommendations that came from that particular discussion were that the church, the influential members of the church, can reach out to the various community leaders, and through that collaboration, through that partnership with the church and the community leaders, you can have engagement with the young people, mentorship programs being implemented for the young people, where you have senior, respectable members of the church and the community groom or guide the younger ones who may seem to be more prone to engage in criminal activity or who have engaged in criminal activity. Some other recommendations were that of the ex-convicts, those who had some run-in with the law, and you have seen some serious change or turnaround in their life, and they have made a conscious decision to, not steer other young people down that path of violent or criminal activity. You have them get on board collaboratively also, and allow for their experience to be shared, not necessarily to glorify crime, but to show the woes of it and how it may impact their lives in general. Another recommendation that comes off the top of my head from that conference was to allow for those groups, the churches, the non-governmental organizations, and community leaders to come together and assist those persons who are not in the best place economically or financially. So you provide some sort of support to them so that they do not necessarily have the mental or psychological problems that may come with that, the stress that may come with having to figure out where the next meal would come from or how they would pay their bills, and so the church and other community members can come together and assist. And also not forgetting that the church has a very important responsibility in terms of the spiritual aspect of each of our individual lives, so that would also be complemented nicely.
Okay. All right, let's go to the telephone line before we take a commercial break, our final one in the segment. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning again. Good morning to the young senator. How are you doing? Senator, I just want to point out to you, most of the young people, they was in so much training for how much years. And some of these people and some of these children, what I see, they didn't get development from this program. To me, like they didn't own nothing much from the program, saying that like some of these children I was in program for years. They can't keep a conversation, some of them with you. The hairstyle. I was talking to a young guy, he tell me in NNP time he used to get more work, more regular. But now he come out on an interview. He's sure he got to get the job, but he's so scared. I say, why are you so scared? He say, if I tell you I don't have money to go and come, I say, listen, you work so regular and you don't have a savings. So I find the training to develop young people, they should develop them, help them to money management, help them to conduct themselves. All this is part of helping them to develop. And to me, some of these young people just stay in the program, get a $700 or $800 when the month up, and that is all the training did to some of them. So I hope and pray that the NDC could train them to help them develop the mind, themselves, and even to have money management. I used to work for $90 a fortnight, and I had a saving because my grandmother teach us to leave something for later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, caller. Senator, your response?
Yes. Again, the first part of the call, I'm not sure what's happening. But what I took away from that was financial literacy. And that was actually one of the recommendations made by one of the groups, if my memory serves me right. And it is indeed important, whereas you have those programs in place, those youth developmental programs in place, like the Imani, like the Empower, and so on. It is a start, and financial literacy is something that seems to be lacking throughout, not just amongst young people, but a lot of people generally in Grenada. I remember one conversation I had with a particular lecturer at St. George University, and they indicated that that is something that they want to actually endeavor to assist in ensuring that people understand the importance of financial literacy, the importance of budgeting, the importance of saving, the importance of investing. All of this can be done, but a lot of young people don't have the access to the information. They don't understand some of it. And then again, it goes back to culture. Some of us may grow in a culture where we would want to save, but because of our socioeconomic situation, it is difficult to do so.
Okay.
So some sort of assistance in that area is important, and I really commend the caller for that.
Okay, we do have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you, Mr. Innocent, and to our guest, Senator Neilon. Welcome to the program. I just want to applaud your efforts for coming to the fore to work with us, Grenada, and to represent your party. I know it's difficult at this time, especially when you're in opposition. But as long as you set your mind to it, with God all things are possible and you can work. I want to say, though, that I do believe that it is parents have a responsibility to assist their children to work with those in authority and the security, and things will go better. I am observing, though, being on the sidewalk, that I want to applaud the efforts of the youth ministry. I'm observing that there are a number of young people involved in summer courses, summer classes, and I say that because I'm seeing the young people that I know that is employed by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They had been there before. I'm talking about Miss Maluma, I'm talking about Mrs. Gibbs, and a couple of other teachers. They had been, going around with the children, going out on field trips and working with them in my community. And we have, the swimming program. There are lots of programs, and I believe a lot of parents now are taking the initiative to have them children engaged in summer classes from since school closed until, last week. So I believe that the ministry is trying. Maybe they can do a little more, but let us applaud the efforts when we see it and, recognize the good things that are happening. Have a great day, and thank you for coming to the program. And to everyone, let us please be respectful to our guests. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. All right, Senator, you care to respond before we take a final commercial break?
I'd like to thank the caller for that. And again, it goes back to the engagement fact that I was mentioning earlier. As long as the young people are engaged, and meaningfully so, then we would see benefits come from it instead of violent or criminal activities. They will be more productive in the society rather than engage in alternative activities. Okay. So again, thank you for that.
All right, Senator, you stay right there. We take our final commercial break in the program and we'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
I'm Dr. Mariam Abdul Richards, and coming up on Caribbean Medical TV, kidney disease.
Even if you have no known risk factors for kidney disease, it is possible to develop kidney disease.
Chronic kidney disease affects your immune system because what it causes is impairment in how your body responds to bacteria or viruses.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to the final moments of the To The Point program for this morning. I'm speaking with Senator Neilon Franklyn, young senator attached with the opposition New National Party, my good friend. And Senator, in wrapping up, is there any specific message you'd like to leave? We're just a minute and a half away from wrap up.
Well, of course, we are in August. The Spice Class has officially started. I would like to implore on all persons, all young people, everyone in the society who would be participating or enjoying the festivities to be safe, to look out for each other, to keep each other in mind, and to look out for each other's best interests. While we indulge, while some of us may be reveling and engaging in those activities, my general message is that we be safe and we keep our brothers and sisters in mind. Next person, the person next to us. Ensure that we stay hydrated because this heat is crazy. Scale down the alcohol consumption a bit, but of course, to have fun. Have safe fun. I myself
clean fun.
Yes. While I don't necessarily partake in all of the activities, I most definitely will be at the stadium on Friday and on Saturday for the Soca Monarch and Baby Monarch and for the Panorama competition. It's probably two of the better competitions in my view that I prefer to spectate.
Okay. All right, well, Senator, I'd like to thank you for being a part of the program this morning. I'd like to wish you and your organization all the best. And what is most important is the fact that there are attempts to work collaboratively with the current administration, because in the final analysis, whether it's green, yellow, pink, black, or blue, or party, whatever, Grenada belongs to all of us, and we're all part of this little rock. So it is imperative that we do whatever we have to and whatever we can to make this little rock the best piece of rock anywhere. So continue doing what you do. And thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. Have a good day and may God bless you.
You too, man. All the best. Take care.
All right, good. Folks, that was our Senator Neilon Franklyn, aligned with the opposition New National Party. And that was the program, To the Point, for today. Thank you very much for being a part. Thank you very much for your comments and reviews and everything like that. And should the good Lord spare our lives, we'll do another program tomorrow. Until then, be good to yourself. I love you. Bye-bye. I'm gone.